Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Let's take a look forward to Saturday coming because we have, would you call it a crossroads battle? You probably would. Hopefully battle is the operative word. It's between the old warhorse himself, Derek Chisora, and the Swedish fella whose claim to fame is probably giving Tyson Fury a very nasty cut indeed and taking him a distance, and that, of course, is OTTO WALLIN. Yeah, what can we say about these two? Well, do I really need to talk about Derek Chisora? We all know what he is, who he is, what he's done. He's now 41 years old. People have been saying he should retire for about the last 10 years. He's currently with 35 wins, 23 KOs, 13 defeats, and he's been stopped 4 times. But does that really tell the story of Derek Chisora? Probably not. Probably not, because, you know, Del Boy, Derek War Chisora, he turned pro 18 years ago now. So it's been that long. His first most notable win, I suppose, was against Danny Williams when Williams had something left. Williams actually retired after that fight. That was in 2010, only to come back to have another, however, 30 or 40 fights on foreign licenses, losing most of them by knockout. Very, very sad case of Danny Williams, really. He had 2 careers, one where he was a world title contender and the other where he was, I don't know, a sort of Eastern European journeyman, cannon fodder for up-and-comers. But when they fought in 2010, Derek Chisora knocked Danny Williams out in 2 rounds and claimed the British title. He also had wins over Sam Sexton, Carl Baker, I think, before he fought Williams. So he was fighting at that domestic level, doing well. And then in 2011, he fought an up-and-comer called Tyson Fury, who was undefeated in 14 fights, was outpointed over 12 rounds. That was his first defeat. At this point, he was promoted by Frank Warren. And then he got a surprise WBC. No, he didn't. Excuse me. No, he fought Hellenius before that. Yes, that's right. He fought Robert Hellenius for the EBU title, and he lost a split decision. And that was over in Finland, in Helsinki. So he lost to Fury in 2011, and then later in the same year, he gets an EBU shot. I don't know how that works, but he lost both those fights unanimously to Tyson Fury, and then split decision, or more majority decision, I think it was a split decision, to Hellenius in Finland. And then in his next fight in 2012, somehow he got a WBC title shot. I guess it's not what you've done, it's who you know. And because he was well connected, he went over to Munich and lost he lost widely, but it was a tough fight for Vitaly Klitschko, a very tough fight, where the rounds were always competitive. He lost over 12 rounds to Vitaly, really made him work for it. And then, having lost 3 of his last 4, because of the fracas that was after that particular fight with David, he had David Hay rolling around and punching him. He glassed me, swapping punches during the post-fight gig for Hay's fight with Vladimir Klitschko. Derek then gets in the ring with David Hay and gets stopped for the first time, gets knocked out in 5 rounds. Now that means he lost 4 of 5 fights between 2011 and 2012, and that would be enough to put most people out in the wilderness. But not Derek Chisora. No, because he came back with a string of wins. In fact, he picked up the EBU title. He beat Edmund Gerber, stopped him in 5 rounds. He also stopped Malik Scott, who previously was undefeated in 36 fights with 1 draw. He stopped him in 6 rounds, and it looked to me like Scott beat the count, but he was counted out. And Scott didn't. First of all, he never really reached his potential, his talent potential. But he never complained about the stoppage, which I thought was weird because he seemed to beat the count. But anyway, he got knocked out in 6, I suppose, after a fashion. So that was a good result for Derek. Then he came back and then he fought Tyson Fury for a second time. And this was in 2014. He retired after 10 rounds. He took an absolute hellacious beating, came back, won a string of fights against second raters, third raters, fourth raters, lost to Kubrat Pulev, over 12. Then he got a little rivalry with Dillian White. Lost a split decision to Dillian, which many thought he won. He lost a majority decision to Ajit Kabayel. He fought Carlos Takam and was a mile behind and getting the crap beaten out of him. And then he found an enormous hook to knock Takam out. Knocked him down twice in the 8th round and stopped him. Amazing comeback fight. That was absolutely amazing. And that set up the rematch with Dillian White. And on this occasion, he got knocked out in the 11th round, knocked flat with a huge left hook. But that was annoying, that was, because the referee had been sort of chastising Chisora for some reason. And Chisora sort of switched off momentarily. He wasn't concentrating. And then Dillian landed a huge left hook. But that was a fantastic fight. Both their fights were fantastic. And he beat people like Senad Gashi when he had something left. And then he beat, Arthur Spilker. That was a good 2-round stoppage. David Price, he stopped him. I think Price retired after 4 rounds. Then he had a string of defeats, 3 defeats in a row. Usyk outpointed him over 12. He made it competitive for the first half of the fight. 2 of those cards were really, really close, like 115, 113. Then he fought Joseph Parker in back-to-back fights. Got floored 3 times in the rematch. He lost a split decision in the first fight. Some people, again, thought Derek had won that fight. But Joseph definitely beat him in the rematch because he knocked him down 3 times. Then he had Pulev again. He lost to Pulev previously on over 12. He won a split decision, which I thought Pulev won that fight. But anyway, it was what it was. That set up an unnecessary, unwanted, and undeserved rematch with Tyson Fury. And a rematch with Tyson Fury. He got stopped again in 10. And since then, he's had two victories over Gerald Washington. That was in 2023. Unanimous decision over 10. And then he won an absolute war against Joe Joyce last year. So that was his only fight last year, was the Joyce fight. Floored Joyce in the 9th round. Surprised a lot of people. Great fight. But look, we're talking about a guy who, in fistic terms, in boxing terms, this guy is so old he probably farts dust. If he was a car, he'd have 500,000 miles on the clock. 35 wins, 13 defeats. Has fought everyone except Anthony Joshua. I can't think of anyone he hasn't fought, really. Not really. So that's Derek. I said I wasn't. Well, you don't need me to introduce Derek. I know I've just gone through his whole bloody career, but yeah, bears repeating, doesn't it? Because he's such a terrific warrior. But he is 41 now, and he's going in there with a 34-year-old from Sweden, OTTO WALLIN, who, like I say, whose claim to fame is giving Tyson Fury hell. Who has Wallin beaten? Not many really. Probably the best victory that he scored was Dominic Breazeale, which was 2 fights after the Tyson Fury contest. The Fury contest was in 2019. And the following year, Wallin fought Travis Kaufman and stopped him in 5 rounds. And then in 2021, he had the Breazeale fight, which was a 12-round unanimous decision. That was probably his best win. But then he went back to fighting people like Kamil Sokolovsky, was a decent journeyman in Britain. But, he fought him in Cardiff, and you're thinking, what is this guy doing? Why is he fighting Kamil Sokolovsky on an undercard? He didn't build on the reputation he made through giving Tyson Fury so many problems. He did beat Murat Gasayev, a split decision over 12. I think that was in Turkey. But Gasayev is a sort of, to say he's an undersized heavyweight is being kind. He's really a cruiserweight. And he hasn't made the transition like, Usyk has or a couple of others have. And then he fought Anthony Joshua and he was completely outclassed and retired after 5 rounds. That was in 2023. Since then, like last year, he had one, I think the guy was Nigerian. I can't even remember his name. It was an obscure fight which OTTO WALLIN won inside the first minute of the first round. And so since the Joshua fight, he's done next to nothing. Okay. Now, you don't need me to tell you that Chisora is a come-forward, heavy-hooking, physically strong war machine, a bear of a man who can be hurt, who can be put down, who can be knocked out. But, my God, you've got to go something to keep him there, haven't you? whereas Wallin is a boxer, very much a boxer. Even though he's got 15 KOs out of 27 wins, 2 defeats, he's not a big puncher. He's really not. You know, he couldn't get rid of Gasayev, he couldn't get rid of Brazil. And I think you need a bit of power to keep Chisora off you, even at 31. So the way this fight goes, I'll be surprised if it isn't a case of Chisora doing his thing, coming trundling forward, not the fastest of guys, especially now, throwing huge hooks. And Wallin, you know, popping with the jab, trying to use his feet a bit of lateral movement. Probably Derek will probably back him to the ropes and then he'll skid off the ropes. Wallin has got to control the range in order to win this fight. If he gets up close and personal with Derek, Derek's going to rail him, just batter him. And I can see him doing that. I can see Wallin pinching rounds, you know. This is a 10-rounder, not a 12-rounder. And that, to me, gives Wallin a much, much better chance of winning than if it was a 12-rounder. Now, the question is, can Wallin, first of all, has Chisora got enough left? Which we keep saying this. I've been saying this for the last 6 or 7 years. Has he got enough left to do X, Y, Z? Has he got enough left to put consistent, heavy-handed, mental as well as physical pressure on OTTO WALLIN? Can he make Wallin fight at a pace he doesn't like, and to be uncomfortable in the trenches, and, you know, to drain him? Can he drain Wallin even though Wallin is constantly moving, and you know, can he take that spring out of his legs? Wallin isn't the smallest of guys. He's in the 230s weight-wise, but he's almost 6'6", about 6'5", 6'6". So Derek is shorter than that. That might not be a good thing because Derek likes to come over the top with big wallops, big hooks. If this was 12 rounds, I would be picking Derek by a late stoppage. The question is, can Wallin keep moving and keep pinching rounds for 10 rather than 12? I'm in two minds about this fight. And like I've said before, the ones that I review are normally the ones that I'm not sure about. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, right? Because I don't really know, I can't really pick a winner. I think that I'm going to go with my heart rather than my head. All right. I think that Derek Chisora will be behind on points, and it will look like Wallin is going to run out. He's going to run away with a pinched points victory. He's going to outwork Derek. He's going to be able to move. But you know what? I'm going to go with my heart, not my head. Whereas the head says, I think Wallin will win on points. I'm going to go with my heart and say that Derek lands a clubbing couple of hooks, floors Wallin late in the fight and stops him. There you go. I'm probably wrong. It's probably going to be Wallin on points now because I've said that. But, you know, yeah, I'll go for Derek. Oh, what the hell? I don't know. I'm doing a preview video and I don't really know who's going to win. Yeah, 12 rounds, I think Derek catches up with him. Over 10, probably Wallin has got a better chance of outpointing him. But I'm going to go for Derek with my heart because Derek's been such a great servant to the sport. I'll even forgive that stupid hat he wears and hanging out with the wrong people. Hanging out with the NF, if you know what I mean, NF. Certain someone with NF, called NF. But anyway, apart from that, Derek's been a credit to the sport. Yeah, good luck to you, mate. It's been a privilege watching you. So I'm going to go with Derek to win a late round stoppage. I'll tell you what, Derek in the last round. How about that? A 10th round stoppage for Derek Chisora. And then after that, he'll have one more fight because he's talking about getting around 50 fights under his belt. And he says that's going to be over in Africa. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, who do you think is going to win? Comments below, as usual. Give your predictions and tell me why you think they will win. Why you think they'll win. And yeah, thank you very much. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Please hit the like button. Spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing because it's your channel as much as mine. And yeah, I'll see you later. Thanks a lot and bye for now.